couple of days or so-ish, it will be the 10-year anniversary of Clinging to a Scheme by the Radio Dept, so I thought this was the perfect time to do a decade later video on this album, which I do truly hold near my checkered shirt heart. It's one of those albums that I wasn't entirely sure if I fully loved it to begin with, and then over time, this happens with me a lot. It just suddenly starts to resonate with me more, particularly on a musical level, because I do believe this is one of the better dream pop, indie pop albums I have heard just in general, to be honest. I do think these are one of the more talented bands in this field. They hail from Sweden, and to be honest, this wouldn't even be the best album by the band for me. Their best album, I think, is Lesser Matters, to be honest, which came from 2003. They've kind of been one of those bands that scatter releases. They're not entirely fully consistent with albums, and I'm not even sure if they're going to be coming out with an album anytime soon. I don't really know a great deal about the band, to be honest. But those of you who watch my videos frequently and keep up with what I do and my lists and stuff will know that this album was on my decade list for the 2010s, because I do truly think of it as being that bloody good. For me, this is one of the most youthful albums I think I've ever heard. It certainly would resonate more with teenagers rather than the older generation, I think. But then again, even me at 25 years old, I can still appreciate a lot what's going on here, mostly due to the way the album's mixed. I love the way the vocals are kind of buried, they're kind of a bit echoey, they're a bit mysterious, but then the instrumentals are just left to take over. They're the ones that are the shining parts of the music, and it's almost like the band knows that, like, yes, these are what we want to be at the forefront of every song that we put out there. But back to the youthful thing though, this album to me is incredibly coming of age in the way that the lyrics are presented, and even the way the music sounds. I mean, one of the tracks from Lesser Matters was even in the Fault in Our Stars film, so I feel like that kind of proves the coming of age aesthetic that the entire thing has. It just certainly feels like an album that would resonate a lot with, like, you know, your 16, 17-year-olds, just in the same way that, you know, Jeff Rosenstock's Worry would have an impact on the teenagers of this current generation, this current era that we're in. And this album just has that same feel to it for me. The confusing state of some of the lyrics as well, the kind of not knowing where to go next, and then even tracks like David, which deal with I believe the lead singer's homosexuality, just kind of that confused state, and you know, being involved with someone that doesn't entirely know where they are in their life, if they even consider themselves to be homosexual. Then you've got the final track that's dealing with a person who has lost themselves to religion and they've stopped making sense. That kind of, not necessarily brainwashing, but, or, you know, not even indoctrination or anything like that, but just that sort of point in someone's life where suddenly they've found Jesus or whatever, and then everything beyond that is completely changed. I just feel like a lot of these relatable themes would definitely be resonating with people who are of a younger generation, who are then kind of growing up with the people around them, and then you just start seeing everyone grow to be someone that was completely different to what they were like 5 years ago. We've all had that. But then Heaven's on Fire takes a completely different lyrical approach, where you've got the introduction of Thurston Moore doing this little speech about capitalism and how it's destroying youth culture or whatever. And I don't really know if there's enough detail in what he's saying to fully really understand exactly what he's trying to go for here. But I think the follow-up with the lyrics in the rest of the song sort of teaches you what he's saying, in the sense that the music industry is what this lead singer is attacking here, saying how, you know, it just really isn't helping bands or musicians in any kind of way. And just backed with just the best instrumental ever, man. I fucking love this. It's just so fucking joyful, the way that they incorporate the synth, and then the freaking sax solo that comes in at the end. Oh, they just have such a great ear for music and melody. Like, they know exactly how to place instruments in every track. I just love the way they record these songs, man. It's just so blissful on the ears. Oh, like the opening track as well, Domestic Scene. It just has the perfectly like minimal instrumentation, but it's so like soft on the ears. Oh. They do take it too far on Token of Gratitude though, I must admit. That is the one point on the album where everything is just too quiet and too minimal for anything really to latch onto. And then lyrically as well, it's incredibly vague. I do think this was one moment where if they'd fleshed it out into a greater piece of music, it would have actually stopped the album from hitting like a dead stop right in the middle of the album, because so much of this album is total ear candy. And this is just the one blockage that stops the album in the middle, and it just kind of interrupts the flow a little bit for me. I think so much of this album being as infectious as it is, you know, so many of the melodies just looped in my head, like the I want to and this track just doesn't have that. So it's like, why is it not there? Why isn't there more of the greatness that they've been hitting as with on the rest of the songs? As you can quite clearly tell though, I do think this album's great. Like, it's a great album. I wouldn't have put it on my decade list if I didn't think that. And I love that even 10 years later, it's grown on me even more ever since I heard it way back in like 2013 or something. I don't know when I heard it initially, but it's been quite a while. But I do like it how over time it's just got better and better, and it remains to be a great album. So I would love to see what you guys think of this one. Do you think it's a great album? Do you think it's worse than I'm saying it is? Do you think it's even better than that? I'd love to see your comments in the comments section about this one, and tell me what I should go for next in this series, because I can pretty much do any album in this time frame of 2010, like anything. I can keep this going. I can make these episodes more frequently. If that's what you would like to see, let me know, because I'm quite happy to keep them up. I do already have a few ideas of what albums I will be touching on later on in the year though, because there are some other anniversaries coming up that I do want to kind of hit right as the anniversary comes, just like I've done with this one. But if there's any others you guys want to see me talk about, let me know in the comments. Tell me about this album too. Listen to it if you've never heard it, because I do think you'll like it, especially if you're a dream pop, indie pop, shoegaze-ish fan. You should probably get something out of this. So thank you for watching my video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a good day and goodbye.